In today's video, we are back with more of my top 10 favorite weapon animations, this time from Battlefield 5. Despite my issues with some of the aesthetic decisions of Battlefield 5, I do think there's a lot of absolutely amazing model and animation work to appreciate here. Much like my other lists, I will only be looking at standard, non-rare animations seen in-game. Also, Battlefield 5 features several weapons seen in Battlefield 1, so I won't include any overlaps as seen in my Battlefield 1 animation video. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get started. Starting us off at number 10 is the M2 Flamethrower. A staple weapon of many video games, the Flamethrower is usually represented through some unique animation work when compared to other weapons in the game. Battlefield 5 is no exception here. The M2 is an American-designed flamethrower that uses a tube and nozzle to propel burning, jellied petroleum from a hose on a backpack. The animations for the flame effects and shaking of the tube as it's fired are just really well done. However, I especially love the reload animation, for lack of a better term. I'm assuming this is maybe done for balancing reasons, or maybe this is an actual design of the weapon, but for one reason or another, the character must swap out the nozzle at the end of the tube. The animation to do this is really cool, and you can spot the character using a bullet to do this without burning their hand. I have to point out the sound design here for when the character screws on the new nozzle, it just sounds so realistic to me. Overall, a sizzling hot weapon. Next at number 9 is the Smith & Wesson Model 27. First produced by the United States in 1935, it is the first production version of the .357 Magnum. If you've watched my other animation videos, you know I have a bit of a soft spot for revolvers, and the Model 27 is no exception here. The animations are wonderful representations of the power and beauty of this gun. The spinning flourish when drawing the weapon is always a plus, and the way the weapon recoils back when fired shows the power of the .357 round. The reload animation is also really cool, featuring a unique World War II era quick loader that has a ring to place your finger through. The way the character snaps the quick loader into the cylinder and rips it away is also just really well done. Some amazing work here by the team to show some uniqueness to a very standard weapon we see in other video games. The M30 Luftwaffe Drilling is up next at number 8. The M30 was a German-designed triple-barreled hunting rifle, first developed in 1930 and given to German pilots as a survival weapon in case they were shot down. A very unique weapon, the M30 features 2 barrels of 12-gauge buckshot, with a third underbarrel hunting cartridge rifle round. In-game, this weapon can essentially act as a type of sniper-shotgun hybrid, and flashbacks to Bad Company's 2 slug rounds are running through my head as I say that. Not only is this gun beautifully rendered, it features some really snappy and satisfying animation work. The recoil is massive and shown well, and the reload for the unique rifle round barrel is also really cool and not something I've seen in a game before. Overall, just some fantastic work, and it helps that this is an extremely powerful and effective gun in-game. At number 7 we have the Krag Jorgensen. This Norwegian-developed bolt-action rifle was first developed in 1886. This rifle features a very unique loading system that is represented through some amazing animation work here. The Krag has a capsule magazine which is loaded through a side door on the gun. This makes for faster reloading than say a tube, however it did prevent the use of later developed stripper clips as seen with other rifles. The bolt action animation is extremely smooth and satisfying, and the reload as the character flips open the side door to load in bullets is just really unique and cool looking. I especially love when the mag is completely emptied how the bolt stays back, allowing the character to load a bullet directly into the chamber before snapping it back forward, then loading additional shells into the unique magazine design. Overall, just a very interesting weapon and series of animations within the game. Next at number 6 we have the Jungle Carbine or number 5 MK1. A weapon of British design, the Jungle Carbine is a shorter, lighter variant of the Lee Enfield No. 4 MK1, which also makes an appearance in Battlefield 5. Right off the bat, you may notice the unique way the character holds, or rather doesn't hold the grip of this gun, and instead grips the bolt while lightly resting their finger on the trigger. This is only done for the Jungle Carbine and its longer, heavier sister, the Lee Enfield No. 4. While this is different enough to stand out on its own, what causes this weapon to make my list is the incredibly satisfying and quick way the character works the bolt action here. Maybe I'm weird, but when firing it is just so pleasing to watch the smooth and rapid action. Another detail I appreciate and seen in other guns in the game is when bullets are still in the magazine, the character will actually place their hand over the ejector to avoid having unspent shots unload from the gun. Just a really cool nuance to the animation and shows the level of detail the team is considering here. For number 5, we have the Type 11 LMG. This Japanese-designed light machine gun is fascinating to me from a development and design perspective. I won't go into detail here, but essentially the Imperial Army wanted a light machine gun that could use the regular 5-round stripper clips used by standard issue rifles. The stripper clips were loaded via an offset hopper on the side of the gun and were fed through when fired. While the gun in real life had no shortage of problems with things like weight distribution and jamming, in game this is just an awesome looking weapon and the animations are very unique. Lots of little details make this one stand out. From the way the hopper handle kicks down as it empties when rounds are fired, to the way the character slides new clips into the hopper, to the satisfying smack on the side of a newly loaded hopper and cocking motion, this gun is just a real treat to see come to life in game. And DICE did some really impressive work here. The FP45 Liberator makes the list at number 4. Much like the Colibri from Battlefield 1, this feels a bit like an Easter egg weapon that somehow made it into the standard loadout. The Liberator is a .45 caliber pistol designed by the United States during World War II. As the name suggests, the gun was designed to help resistance fighters within Axis-occupied countries liberate themselves from their oppressors. The plan was to airdrop thousands of these weapons to be picked up and used to combat Axis forces. However, the crude and cheap design of the weapon meant you were probably more likely to blow off a few of your own fingers instead of actually harm someone else. As a result, the design was abandoned and only a few reached the hands of resistance fighters. Despite all of that, its inclusion within Battlefield 5 is still an awesome showcase of the unique weaponry of the era and the animation skill of the teams at DICE. The reload is extremely unique and shows the functions of the weapon. However, I do have to knock a few points off here, as a spent casing can be seen when firing the weapon down the sights. A really strange oversight for such detailed work here. At number 3, we have the German-designed MG34. The predecessor to the infamous MG42, the MG34 was one of the first portable air-cooled machine guns of its kind. Honestly, it was hard to pick a medium machine gun from the game because these to me are all just so excellently animated and feature really cool unique little details in their own way. However, the MG34 is my favorite of the bunch for a few reasons. The design of the weapon is just badass on its own, with some almost rudimentary parts that to me represent its status as one of the first weapons of its kind. The way the belt of bullets hangs loosely and jostles around when fired is a nice touch, and the rattling of the bipod when fired standing is just another cool detail here. The reload is interesting as the character almost haphazardly slaps in a new belt of rounds. However, when overheated, the barrel must be removed to continue firing. And this is done through some really satisfying animation and sound design. The gun breaks in half and is tipped back to allow the hot barrel to slide out of its jacket, as the character grabs a new barrel to replace it in one smooth motion. Just such a different type of animation, not normally seen in video games, and really well done. My second favorite weapon animations in the game are for the iconic M1 Garand semi-automatic battle rifle. A necessity in any World War II game, the Garand's exclusion from the weapon lineup in the launch of Battlefield 5 caused no small amount of grief for fans. However, this was fortunately rectified with the War in the Pacific update, and wow does it not disappoint. As someone who has been playing FPS games for over 20 years, this to me is one of the most detailed and realistic takes on one of gaming's most beloved guns. This gun is so much more complex than it appears, and the amount of work and detail from the modeling to the animations is truly awesome. Oscar Wedderbrandt, sorry I'm probably saying his name wrong, wanted to give the Garand some special treatment here, and as a result the weapon features an impressive 16 different reload variations, including the character's thumb getting jammed as the bolt snaps forward. An occurrence so common with soldiers during the war that they dubbed the bruising that would occur as a result as Garand or M1 thumb. And I know this list is focused on animations, but I can't list the M1 Garand without mentioning the iconic and satisfying ping of the clip being ejected. Overall, just some amazing work done by the team. Before I get to number 1, I do want to take a look at some honorable mentions. Another iconic World War II era weapon, the MG42 deserves an honorable mention here. Much like the MG34, the barrel for the 42 overheats and must be replaced. The animation to do so is really cool too, and like the Flamethrower, features the character using a bullet to remove the hot barrel without burning themselves. The lunge mine deserves a mention here as well. I can't imagine a worse weapon to try and use in a battle. Trying to spear a tank just does not sound like my idea of a good time. However, the work here to represent this last-ditch effort weapon is well done, and I like how the character gets blown back when it makes contact. I'd like to mention the Fliegerfaust here as well. I don't have much to say other than I like how smoothly the character is able to line up all the little rockets in their tubes and slide them in one satisfying motion. Finally, at number 1 we have the Panzerbusche 39. German for tank rifle, the Panzerbusche was a single-shot anti-tank rifle first developed in 1939. For the early portion of World War II, while the tanks weren't exactly super advanced, this weapon was a standard infantry anti-tank rifle for the Wehrmacht, and I can't say that I've seen this gun in many video games, so its inclusion here already makes it special. The animations here really show how unique this weapon was. The design is very interesting and a bit confusing until you fire it in-game to see exactly what's going on here. The recoil of the round is represented well, of course, and I like the detail of the little metal dust cover jostling when fired. However, the reload is something special. The Panzerbusche features a falling block action, meaning the entire grip of the weapon drops down with the breech, exposing the chamber. When this happens, the spent casing is ejected, and a new round can be loaded. Extra rounds were carried in a unique 10-round ammo box seen mounted on the side of the gun here. In-game, the actual round you are on is shown when the box is opened, and you can see the character working their way through the stored ammunition in the box. This all happens very quickly in-game, but it's just so cool to see. Just an incredibly unique rifle that I think showcases some amazing attention to detail that DICE is so well known for. Definitely some of my favorite work in Battlefield 5. Overall, I think the teams at DICE did some really fantastic work here, and it makes me incredibly excited to what they bring to the table in Battlefield 6. That's it for me. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and comment. I've been seeing some really cool interaction lately within the comments, and it's just so fun to see. I'm frankly having a blast making these Battlefield videos, and if others find entertainment out of them, then all the better. Until next time.